Model driven is incomplete without the knowledge of Dataverse. Hey everyone, this is Prashant Chaudhary. I welcome you all to my channel Classic Power App. This is the second video of this model driven series. In the first video, let me help you if you haven't watched that, let me help you what was there. We have seen the introduction of model driven, its aim, why, how it come into the market and what are its capabilities. Now in this second video, model driven is an app is type of a front end where the user is going to interact, but there should be some data on the front end on which user is going to interact, right? So that data should come from the dataverse. So that's why we say model driven is totally incomplete without the use of dataverse. Whenever you go to learn the model driven, you need to understand dataverse also, because all the capabilities of the dataverse you can implement that inside the dataverse. But in order to visualize those, you need some front end. That front end you will get from the model driven. So in the second video, we are creating the table. That table will try to use inside the model driven power application. So let me show you how we can create the table inside the Dataverse. So let me take you to my screen. If you are familiar with this screen, this is the landing screen of our Power App. Here you notice that on the top, here you will get all the list of the environment where you have the access. This one is for the notifications. If there is some notification going on in your environment, you will get it here. Settings, in order to go to the advanced setting or maybe system setting and admin setting. And then we have the place which would show which credentials you have used to log into this screen. Now, as we need to create the Dataverse table, so here you can directly see on the left side there is a table. You can directly create your table from here, but I will recommend you to just create your table inside some solution. Why solution? Solution is a type of a container where you put all your components that are going to be used inside your system. Okay, so you can also create the table directly from here and later you can add inside your solution, but it's good if you just start from the solution and then start making the component inside your solution. So we'll come to the solution, and here we will get all the list of the solution that you already have in your environment. And at the top you have the new solution. Let's say model driven series solution. We need to select the publisher. Publisher is something like whenever you create a component, that component schema name have some prefix value. That prefix value come from the publisher. Okay, I'll show you what the use of this. And here is the version, and then create. You can notice that the version is 1.0.0. There is a reason behind this version. If you are working on the existing solution and if you're doing some customization, then you are pushing your solution to the production environment at a time. This version is something that can be used to understand how many release we have done inside the production environment. Okay, so my solution has been created. Now you can see we have apps, card, chatbot, cloud flows, tables. Also you have the new at the top, so we'll go to the new, and then here we have the table. Once you go to the table, you have two options: table or table from the external data. Table is something where you simply create your columns, your table name. Okay, and if you are using the AI capabilities or the copilot capabilities, you need to just directly pass some statement and it can create the table for you. But we'll go with the scratch part, like how we can create the table by passing the table name and the column name manually. And table from external data is something, let's say you already have a table maybe in SharePoint, and you want the same replica of that table inside your Dataverse. Then you will select the table from the external data, and you need to set up some connection from your SharePoint, and that same table will be created inside your Dataverse too. So for now we are going with the basic one, the table. And here you need to give the table as display name. So we, let's say we say as use some college data. Okay, so we'll use student student table. As I'm writing the student table in the display name, I see in the advanced option there is some text schema as CRA32. This is the publisher. Okay, so you are creating the table name as student table, then you are getting the schema name as your publisher as in the prefix type of the table, whether it's a standard table, activity table, virtual table, or the elastic table. And ownership also, you will get to understand these things later. So but for now let's go with the basic one, create a table as a student table. Now once our table has been created, we will go inside and then check on the table properties. Our Here you will get some basic info about your table. This look and feel might change in future. Okay, so you can understand that thing later. So here is the name, that is the primary column in my table. Okay, and if you do a little down, you will get the schema of your table, how many columns it has, how many relationships it has, how many keys it has. And on the second side you will see the data experience, how the data would be shown or would be gathered. Okay, so data would be gathered from the forms, and data would be shown from the views, list, charts, dashboard. And then you have the customization. So we'll cover these all topics later in the further videos, but here we are just creating the table. So you can also see there is a small preview of our table, that's it's having one column as a name and some other columns also, like some student table, it is mandatory and then created on. And if I see I have this plus 13 more, it means there are 13 more column which is created. You notice that we have just give the table name, so 13 more columns has been created. How these column would be created? As we say, Dataverse is so secure, it capture all the activities whatever the user is doing. That's why whenever you create a table, it will create automatically create 10 to 12 columns that would be used to capture the logs. Okay, so we'll do the cross. If you need to create more columns, you can directly create from here, from the new column. Or the another approach is you'll go to the columns, and then here you'll get all your columns. We'll start adding the column. So the name is already there. We say, let's say age. We give it as data type as here's the option to select your data types, whether text type, text can have plain text, text area. Sometimes you need to write some story, so in that case you would need the text area, rich text. So these are the subcategories that comes under the text. Later, the other data type they have given you is the number. Number is like, if we expand this, either it can have a whole number, decimal number, float number. Okay, if you have created any column to some maybe whole number and later you need to change it to the decimal, you can't change it. Okay, so please make sure while creating the column that you are following the right architecture, because your column, some of the data types want to be changed in future. Whatever you have selected at the very first starting, that would be locked. Okay, let's say we'll create a age column, and it would be age would be of type name, sorry, number. uh, let's say whole number. Behavior is simple, let's say save. What other thing student can have? Student can have his email, so we can write email. Email can be of type single type, yes, it would be of type text only, but you can also select your format from here. Okay, either you can select from here or from here. So it would be type of email. Save this. Then we can add some other text, let's say date of birth. We have already given the age, but still we say some date of birth column. POB. What would the call? What would the data type? Our data type would be the date and time, and we need date and time or date only. So we need only date. You can also notice we have lookups, we have choice, currency, auto number, file, and formulas. So lookup are those columns that are used to maintain the relation between two tables. Okay, so one table is connected to another table through the value of one column. So in that case, we will use the lookup data type. The choice is like choice. You can consider you want to give some options to the user so that they can select the choice. Let's say you want to give some rating. Then the rating can be out from 1 to 5. So user can actually select any number from 1 to 5. Okay, that's how you can use this choice column. Currency also auto number, based on the more records would come to the your Dataverse, it would automatically create the number. File, sometimes you need to store the file also into your table. This is the new column. So that file either can be any type of a doc file or PDF file, or it can be a type image, so you can select as per your requirement. You have formula also. Formula is the data type. If you remember in Canvas, whatever code we write, we call that code as Powerapps code. So this formula is the data type that is used to do some sort of a calculation, or some sort of a, we should call it as a function on the top of the formula to calculate some values. Okay, so we'll create one more column and then do a save. So our table has been created, and in our table, how many columns we have? We have two columns, or maybe three, four columns. You need to make sure that whatever is the table name you have given, you will find the same column here, and you notice that it's type of a unique identifier. So whatever value that will come into this column would be used as a unique identifier for the row. This column would be automatically created, and if you are first time creating the record, you need not to pass anything into this. But if you are updating the existing record, then this column needs to be used to identify which particular record you want to update. You can get the summary from here: customizable, required, not required, and searchable. Okay, so these are the properties of the columns. Let me give you another one more data type. Behavior is autonomous. Let's use file also, and we'll use image. Student pic, student photo. We want that image to be the primary image? Yes, we want that image to be the primary image. And then my table has been created.